Okay, I haven't recorded this the last few times, so I'm actually going to just do that. So that is done. Okay, perfect. Let's see. Okay, so we've obviously just had the open happen right now. So I'm going to bring this up. We've got, there hasn't been a lot of action today on the price, even from session open. Like I ran some optimizations earlier, even on the YM on an 11.2 bar, very little action so far. And even on our 5-minute chart itself, on the YM, we are just seeing the price come back and retest the 76.4 of the 5-minute Fibonacci levels. So that is what that has been doing so far. Obviously reached a new high at 740 earlier today, and since then just came back. So it actually hit the new high and then came back down to the 76.4 on the 4-hour. So that was a really good a good visualization of that. It's amazing how much that 76.4 has come into play over the last few days. I know last week it was definitely playing around that level a lot. All right. Okay, so we're going to just have a look at the optimizations on the chart. So like I said, on the YM now, we're going to look at the YM, but I also want to just run the NQ just to see what that one looks like on the same bar size. So I'm going to run both the YM and the NQ together. So I'll just quickly create a trading hours template for that, because we're only going to be activating the strategy from quarter to 10. So we're just going to spend the next few minutes just running through some optimizations and just seeing what we can actually do. So the first thing I'm going to go do is tools and instrument lists. I actually want to create an instrument list of the NQ and the YM. It's already there. Okay, it is already there. So if you haven't created one, just you can go NQ and YM, create it over there, add the two instruments to it, and then I can actually go and select them over here. So NQ and YM, select all. So with the optimization, I'm running the 9:45 to 11 a.m. So that's the time which we're actually going to be starting the strategy. So we'll just leave that off for right now, the time. We'll start running it just after the session, just at that time. Okay, and we're going to be optimizing. So the same as we have done before, 1 to 20 on a setting B, 1 to 20. So they're just a good range to work in. And we're optimizing all the repaints, and we're going to be using the 11.2 bar. So because today is the 29th, or the 30th, we want to optimize basically the start of the session and up until current price. So if I use these, this is going to do the whole day so far. So I'll just run that just to see what it has looked like so far today. And then we can judge from there what we can actually look at. Any of you guys had some trading today while during the late Asian session or early New York? I'm not early New York, early London and late London?
No, I have not. I've been waiting for this session to start.
Okay, all right.
I traded the Asia Open this morning.
All right, and how did you go, Stuart?
Well, I used the optimization just to get it, but I'm trying to play catch up, so I didn't actually have the strategy in place. I just optimized it, so it gave me direction. So I just took the buy signal. It was just one trade, and I caught the initial big upswing. So I kind of traded and was done. So it was about 260 US on one NQ contract.
Oh, okay. So you basically saw what the optimization was showing you, then you just took a manual position.
Yeah, I took a manual position because I didn't have time to set it up. I just saw it was coming, and I just took a manual position.
Got you. So you caught a nice big run up.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, because that's what the optimization has been saying. So this morning, because we even on this morning's call, the group catch-up call, we actually saw this position. If you remember, Eduardo, we were looking at this position, the sell, and then the next position was going long. And that's where we left the call earlier today. On the YM will be exactly the same, actually. So the NQ and the YM. So we actually saw this position earlier where the first initial trade was a sell going down, and then it was in a long position going up. That's basically what it's been doing all day so far. So we will still just check what's going to happen because there hasn't been much action at all. I know last week we were experiencing a lot of action on the price. So we may just look at the analytical bars again. I'm going to just check that. We worked on, if I remember correctly, the bar size we used was an 8-1. Yeah, it was an 8-1 last week. I'm just going to run this and just see what this looks like for today's session so far. So just getting a good feel for the market, what it's been doing today, what the signals have been looking like. And it'll give us an idea of what the market conditions are.
Are we doing trading and stop, Jason?
You mean trading the optimization and adding it?
Yeah, optimizing trailing stop and targets.
Oh, we will add them on when we activate the strategy, but not for the optimizations.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so this is what the NQ has looked like for today so far. Six positions on the optimizer. So, again, optimizing that earlier, it caught in these moves. So it's been fairly active. The YM on the same bars has only had that. Why is it going up until there? Okay. A slightly different action on that. So YM has been funny. How's this while I'm looking at that chart? Look what's happened with the 76.4 again on the YM. So it's incredible how that level is just really, it's coming in and testing it. And it's already up 20 ticks from that level. I didn't even notice that happen. We could have taken that as a manual position. So I'm not 100% sure what we're going to work on today because the YM is very, very slow today. So it looks like perhaps the YM might be something to focus on later on in the week once it's gathered some momentum for the week. The NQ is probably the instrument to work with for today. So let me just see what a larger bar size will look like. So let's also look at a flat baseline. So let's go to a 50 and a 1. And I just want to see what that one looks like on the NQ. Because we have, although it's probably only going to show the 1 down and then going up, but we'll just look at it anyway. Got a few minutes just to go through a few scenarios. I mean, if you were looking, so an 8-8 bar like we did on that previous optimization is probably good for a Monday because we've, got the beginning of the week. Yeah, that's only had the 1 signal going up. So if you ran this optimization anytime earlier today, all the way from 4 a.m., it's basically showed that it would, all the optimizations would have shown just 1 long signal. Okay, so that's not going to help us too much. We've really just had this huge uptrend. There hasn't been a upwards and downwards motion today really on that. It's just really been in one direction. So all the optimizations are going to just show that one direction, not too many positions. Okay, so let's have a look at, obviously the trending baseline is going to show us the same type of thing. So if we go for like a 1 and a 25, that's going to show us the trending baseline with the same data. So while that is running, so this was the 76.4 on the 5-minute chart. So if this has to close below the 76.4, then we can probably expect it to be coming down. But if this is going to keep closing above, we're probably going to expect a bounce up. But knowing these guys, they'll probably just push it through a little bit to entice people to be selling and then bring it up again. But who knows? This might because we've been hanging up all day and it hasn't been finding new highs. Maybe they're gonna push it down for a while and maybe even come to this 76. So this is our daily 76.4 level. So it'll be interesting to see what that one does. Yeah, again, okay, so it's still sticking with the singular position. All right, so let's have a look at a different size on this. So with the analytical bars for the NQ, let's go for a 1616 is going to give us a slightly larger bar size. So we want to work with a slightly larger bar size for the US session because we were having a lot of bouncing up and down with the price and a lot of change in directions. So I definitely wanted to switch to a larger bar size. Again, just very little movement. I mean, a lot of movement, but just all in one direction. We'll just switch to a few different settings over here and just see what that is coming up as. So I don't know if you guys saw the previous optimization that we did for last week. Yeah, again, that's all just showing one thing. So I did optimization for last week on the YM, and looking at the analysis for that. Where is that YM? It's behind. Okay, here it is. So this was showing the results for the previous week. If I go to the analysis, it's going to show me the days. So 23, 24, 25, 26. So that was basically the previous week. So what I was thinking of doing is was starting off on these levels. But then if you notice that a lot of the previous week, we had a few trades. I'm trying to get, yeah, it's just very, very few positions. And even that one there, the highest performing one actually had a very poor Monday. So I'm just looking at the Mondays for the first day of performance for the week, and it just was not showing high value. So we don't want to be doing that. And that one was obviously only later in the week. So I'm still at a little bit of a decision of what we should be using for this session. So I definitely think NQ, because the YM is just not going to be giving us a lot of work. And we may have to switch to the 8-8 just for a while and just to see if we can get some action in the movement of it. Even though it might not be ideal for later on in the session, we can always look at it now and apply them going forward. And just see even what it looks like for this latest period. So we haven't had a massive reaction from the open. So it seems like we're probably going to have a yeah, just a decent little run over like this. So what I'm actually going to be doing, I'm going to open up a chart to match this. And I'm not actually going to be using that very specific session template just because the time, you know, to match basically what's been happening for today. So if I go and duplicate that and I just run this, if we had to check what was happening for today, and I just go and use the time slot. So if we go and select the time slot of between 9:30 a.m. up until now, and I run that, let's just see what that looks like. And it's probably going to show us maybe one trade in that period. So what we'll do is we'll run for the last 15 minutes, and we'll run, we already ran for the previous, or for the whole day behind us, which are these results over here. I think between them, we can actually start the strategy and then work from there. So the 317, 211, it's amazing how often this 2-1 comes up. Extremely, extremely often. So 317, 2-1, 315, 317. Okay, so this is looking at the open. Okay, that is a lot more active than what I thought. That is a lot more active than what I thought. So this is from 9:30 up until right now. These are the settings that are showing to be effective. So let's go and load that up on a chart. So again, we're going to open up a chart with the instrument settings. Okay, so I'm going to go template and save, and I'm going to call this 30 August NQ. I'm going to put session open so I know what I've selected. Okay, and now I'm going to go open up a trading chart. So let's go and do that. So just popping on a new window. So we're going to use the NQ like this, and we're going to select the bar chart that we were using, which is an 8/8 DTB bars or analytical bars. So 8/8 like this, and we're actually going to select 0 days because that's going to show us only today's data on the chart. And then we're going to go to the strategy and enable that. So strategy, analytical bars 1, we're going to go template load, and we're going to load that one we just created. So 30 August session open, we're going to go load. So we're using the time slot, and what we'll do is we'll go and use the trailing stop. So we can tick the box for trailing stop, and you can go and put a value in there. So even just make it like a 40 and a 40, which should be fine. And then once that's enabled, we're still using our sim test account. And I'm going to go wait until flat synchronize account. So I'm going to apply that, see what that looks like on the chart. And I've got to make sure that that is matching the actual optimization itself. So I'm just going to quickly bring that up and have a look. Actually, what it won't match because we've used the trailing stop, so we've actually got to increase the value of the trailing stop. So if I go like 60 and a 60 like this, then we'll actually have it matching. Okay, so we can go and basically apply that, start enable. Now, what I have noticed is because we selected the trailing stop, it's actually going to transfer those results to the chart. So if you look at the strategy analyzer chart, which I'll just put above here like this. So I'm going to put the strategy analyzer chart above and put this one below the trading chart. And what that's going to do is going to show the plotted positions. So let me just activate that. So global and global. So it's showing the plotted positions. So there's our next buy. Some of these are going to show target, you see. So this one showed a target because it's used a trailing stop. So at least by looking at this, we know that the trades were actually entered at the right time. So they're all good. Okay, so we can move our analyzer out of the way and we can have this as our trading chart. So from 9:30 a.m. With the settings selected, that is what it so far looks like. So far, according to the market conditions, we're pretty much in sync with it. So we're going to let this run. And then while that is running, we can always run the optimization in the background. And judging what happens with the market conditions, we'll see how frequently we have to do that. Now, this session, what we've done is we have selected wait until flat synchronize account. So we haven't used the immediately submit. So that is going to ensure that we're not immediately jumping into a position. It's just going to give us some time, and it's going to wait. It's going to act on the next signal. So the next signal of that strategy, it's going to act on that. And the benefit with that is obviously we're not jumping into a trade immediately. I will go and activate this. I've got the wrong account here. So we are in our first position right now. Okay, so we're in our first position according to the strategy. We do have a trailing stop on there. So we can go and manage that as we like. Now, if you notice, we are above the 76.4. So there's probably a thing we should have been looking at also. Anyway, we're above the 76.4 right at this moment. The price is breaking above. I'll keep the center price on scale so that we can zoom in on the chart itself and monitor that. Okay, NQ. I just want to make sure I've got the NQ chart. I was looking at the YM chart earlier, not the NQ. All right, so while we've got that strategy running, we will just look at our optimizations and we'll keep running these optimizations. I mean, like I said, there was no specific time. There was no specific frequency in running them. It's just as the market conditions are changing and as we're watching what's happening, we can run those optimizations accordingly. And I guess while the settings are working very well for us, we don't need to go and adjust them. At least the benefit now is you can go and move your trailing stops and whatever else you need to do. Just going to deactivate this thing again. It's gone. Just want to make sure that is right on the end. Okay. So we're currently on a 315, which is the same setting that's popping up in the analyzer. So I can change this to a dollar value too, so we can see what that is. So at any time, you can go and move your stops and your targets. So like if we want to make sure that we definitely 100%, secure some of this move, you can go and move that now. So that's the amazing thing about the analytical strategies now is you can actually go and move your stops and your targets, which is what wasn't used before. Now, unfortunately, I'm not a very firm believer in a trailing stop because it always happens like that. You have a breakout, you have them coming back down to push, to retest those levels, and then they smash the price up again. I mean, it's just what they do all the time, like even over here, they bring the price down, go up, bring the price down again, go up. But what it's done is it's entered another So it's entered the next signal on the strategy. So that automatically entered a position. So there was another signal over there. So you see another brick wall had formed at that specific level. So that's why it entered another position over there. So again, you've got your trailing stop that you can automatically set to whatever value you want, but at least, it's up to you now to decide what you want to do with your trail. If you want to even limit your losses on this account, like if you want to limit, the price reversal value, so you can even bring it closer, so that if this does turn around, it's not going to travel very far for your stop. I would say probably 3 or 4 candles. If it's moved 3 or 4 candles away from its entry, there's probably a good time to move your target in place. So again, you can go and lock in some of your value. Remember, we're only working on an 8/8 bar, so it's not a huge size bar that we're working on. So hopefully we can get the price actually running in a direction without it coming and taking our stop. But at least now you've secured some of that move. We've got a red bar forming, which means there could be a brick wall coming in the opposite direction. We've actually got another green bar and another brick wall. So that is basically going to more than likely hold that up. We did reach a new high though, so we could have a little bounce off price. So what you can even do is you can even move your stop right up there and be taken out. And then I would be expecting probably around here somewhere to have a sell, because we've got a brick wall, we've got a we've got a green bar, but we've got a brick wall, but we've also got a high. So we've got to be mindful over here. We haven't got too many Fibonacci levels to work with, unfortunately, because we've reached extreme highs. So we can't really go according to the Fibonacci levels right now to be able to determine, price action. But, for right now, we've had that. We can run our optimization again just to see what that looks like. It has entered another buy. So you see how it went to a sell signal with those red bars, and then now it's back in another long. So it looks like this could be pushing up again. So if we only had one entry per direction and we never exited any of these trades, we still would have been in that one long position all the way up there. So that is the risk of moving your stop to taking yourself out, because the strategy is going to look for the next long signal according to its settings. And if you keep doing that higher and higher up in the price, obviously there's going to be a pullback at some stage. So with the trailing stop, if you want to deactivate the trailing stop, you can actually click on this button over here, and that takes the trailing stop off. So you would do that if you've got a tight trailing stop, but you want to give the price some room to breathe. So if you've got a trailing stop of 20 ticks, for an example, and you want to deactivate that trailing stop, you can click that button, and then you can move your stop wherever you want it to be. And then it won't trail the price. And then as soon as the price has moved on, say you want to give the price some space to move, and you want to wait until it goes over there. As soon as the price goes up there, then you can come back and activate your trailing stop again, and then the price will trail by whatever value you have. So that's a cool little feature. One of the features of the Analytical Strategy 2 is you're going to be able to take off that trailing stop and reactivate it as you wish. So has anybody just let their strategy run without doing what I have done with, you know, taking out the positions, or have you basically copied what I've done?
Yeah, I just turned mine on.
Okay.
So let's I'm using the Renko, the Ninja Renko.
Sure. Yes. So you will still be in a long position then?
I just turned it on, so it needs waiting for the next signal.
Okay. So there we had an automated signal as a sell. So it automatically sold, and now it's in a sell position. So the strategy automatically entered, you know, it changed direction over there. So it looks like the settings that we have right at this moment that are currently active seem to be okay. So we can probably let this run a little bit. So I don't mind having the trailing. I can move the stop a little bit if I would like. Maybe just bring it up. Even a bit closer to price will be okay to do. We are coming right up to 10 a.m. What is 10 a.m. right now? So you can always even just move your stop to like break even like that. It'll be nice. What often happens is the price will come, will have a signal like it did, come to a brick wall, but it's switched over on its own. So we've had a lot of little scalping positions. For these settings have given us some good scalping positions at the moment, and a lot of switch over. So there's been a lot of switch over positions. So right now it is giving us a nice run.
It's working great for me.
Great. Have you let it run, or have you been moving your stops and targets?
I've moved my stops.
Okay. So I mean, you know, try let the trades run as much as they can. But it just looks like we're in a little bit of a chop at the moment. So we're having a few, you know, upwards and down type of things. Here's the brick wall, you see. So you see this this brick wall over here. So even if you move your stop just under the brick wall, because there's a good chance that the price, it has to break through that brick wall for that signal to change. And now there's the next brick wall over there. So you see, so these are obviously very tight settings in the strategy analyzer, but they're still not, I mean, they're not, they're giving good signals. They're actually giving good signals at the moment. It definitely seems like there's a push up in the price at the moment. So we can hopefully move our target up a little bit. I'll put the stop even over there. I can put it just above that initial brick wall that it formed. And remember to, at any stage, if you want to capture your profits and you want to exit your strategy, you can just click on the pause button. So I'm going to just click pause over there. You see, so I click pause, and what the pause does is it's going to just completely, it's going to exit the position that you were in. It's going to take the profit of that position, and it's not going to enter any more positions. So right now, you know, it says strategy manually stopped, and we hit our $500 we've hit $500 for the session so far, and that's where it currently is. So you can, you know, at any stage, this is also good to do if you have one or two losing positions in a row. You can pause your strategy, and then you can rerun your optimization and just see if there are better settings that are presenting to be able to adjust what you have on your chart so that, you know, you can get a better setup. So according to this, we still got this 315. So a beautiful thing can happen is the same settings come up. And then if you keep the same settings running, that whole session is going to be, you're going to have a very, very profitable session if you have that on the go. So like, I mean, I did obviously pause that to really show you guys exactly how the strategy works. But these are just little things you can do. And also, if you're happy with if you're happy with the return for the day, that's it. You pause the strategy, you're out of it. You can go deactivate it, and then you're done. So this is what I was hoping. This is what I'm hoping to accomplish with this group, is just to have sessions like this where you can run your optimization. You have a good set that comes up. You experiment with a few different values before you start. Like you can experiment with different bar sizes like we did in the beginning, looking at the Ninja Renko, looking at the analytical bars, trying a few different bar sizes, running some optimizations. And the good thing about doing that is you're gonna see what has been working, what is likely to work, and then you can go and select that in your settings. And the good thing is, you're running on a very small sample of data. You're only running today's data, so the optimizations run pretty quick. Good. Anybody wanted to ask something?
Yeah, it's just to say, obviously, I'm catching up with this, Jason. So I'm just looking at this because I've been away for like 2 months. I'm just coming back to it. But me and Paul were predominantly just looking at the NQ, and we've actually found that 8.8 at the US market open is generally better, 8.8, 10.10, and then 6.6 for the Asia. It gives much better, more accurate optimizations.
That's great. That's great. That is great. So, again, you can go and enable your strategy whenever you want again. We would have been in beautiful long positions there, but I will still go and re-enable it. So I'm just going to go re-enable the strategy. Now, what will happen is it will act on the next signal. So that's a cool thing to do. Is acting on the next signal instead of jumping into a position immediately. It'll do that. Now we've just been having a very huge push up at the moment. So, you can. It's a crazy one at this very stage. But again, you've got your settings over here. You can so the cool thing about this is you can click on your optimization like this, then you can go template, and then you can save that, and then you can apply it to, you can call it whatever you want, and then you can come to your chart, pause your strategy, and then enable it. So I'll do that in a second. So what I'll do is I will bring this right up. As soon as that exits, I'm going to click on pause, which I just did. Go into my strategy. So always pause your strategy before you change any settings. So just pause it like that. Don't ever use the chart buttons. If you're not going to enter any manual positions during your session, just deactivate your chart trader. It'll be even better to do. But I'm going to just show you how to do this. So we're going to click on enable, do this. So we're going to disable the strategy, then we're going to go to template, and we're going to go load, and we're going to load the one that we just saved. So this is a good way of doing it because you're not going to have to go and put all this in manually. So you don't want to be here entering all these things manually, but at least loading a template, it's going to automatically save all of those settings and then activate them on the chart, and then you can press start. So the turnaround time of adjusting your settings is a lot quicker. Cool. So I'll just let this run. Now you'll notice that the drawdown does say a lot less on the strategy analyzer. Oh, that is because I didn't use the trailing stop again. Okay, so I'm just going to just fix that up quickly.
Just a quick one with this, Chase. Are you using trailing stops on this one? Sorry, I didn't pick up on that at the beginning of it.
No, I'm not optimizing the trailing stop.
Okay, so you're just using it as the
open, but when I'm activating the strategy, I'm using the trailing stop. So you can also optimize the trailing stop. So let's just do that actually. So I'm going to optimize the trailing stop itself, and then use like a let's use a 30 to 40 trailing stop with a well, actually, it's always good to work in the bar sizes. So we can go, so 24 to 36 in batches of 8. So that's how the bars work. And then you can go to the target ticks is 48 to, what can we do? 48, 58, 68, 66, 64, 64, right? 88 to 64, there we go. And so let's try that. So we're optimizing between those values for trailing stop and target ticks. And then we can actually run that. Now you'll notice that it'll be a bit bigger on the values, but because we're only analyzing a very small data value, it should run very quickly. I'm just checking the session over here. Okay. I haven't been keeping an eye on the YouTube page, so I'm just checking that to make sure that is working. Yeah, it is. Okay. So yeah, it does take a little bit longer to run, but if you do want to optimize those values, you can. If you don't want to optimize them, it'll definitely take a lot quicker to run. But 3 or 4 minutes is not going to make a huge difference in the price. As long as there's not a huge amount of movement in the price during the time from when you start the analyzer to where the price is. So Eduardo, how has your Ninja Renko bars been performing?
He hasn't taken a new trade yet. I mean, it's been long, and the optimizer was showing me like $860 profit. Should I have taken it earlier? But right now, it's still waiting for the next signal.
Oh, okay. It's waiting for the next.
Okay, it's okay by me.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Thank you.
And how about you, Jay? Have you got yours running too?
Yes, I do. With the one that we initially started on, I tried to follow you along on rerunning that new one, but got lost. So I'm just following along with this one.
That's okay. It'll be good to rewatch the session. You can just see what was done and then go from there.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to switch over to this one. So this one, so if you look at this optimization, I'm going to quickly enlarge it. So what's happened with this, I'll just make this larger. So this is showing us a trailing stop. So the cool thing about this is it's going to actually show you the positions, and it's going to give you the value. So it's going to give you the targets, but it's also going to give you the trailing stop values. So if you hover your mouse over the settings, it's going to tell you trailing stop 32, target as 56. That's the best value for that setting. So you can go here now and you can go template. So I'm going to go template, save, and I'm going to call this the 30 when it comes up. So 30 August optimization, this one here. So save. Yes, and then I'm going to switch to the chart. So switch to the chart, go to the strategy, deactivate it or disable it like this. Apply. Then I'm going to go template load, and I'm going to load that very specific one, which is 30 August optimization, and I'm going to load that. And the good thing is it's going to pre-populate the trailing stop and the target ticks and all that. So that's all going to be there. And all we have to do now is go and enable that. So enable, apply, and okay, so it's good. Every single trade is going to have a 50. So this hasn't had the best results over the last short period. So the good thing about this too is you can run your optimization like we just did, and you can see what the last results have been. Now, if I go and activate this, and I put this on global, and I put this one on global too, okay, like this, and I look at the previous positions. Now the chart, so look at the chart at the bottom, the analyzer, the optimizer chart. Oh, come on, don't lag on me. So this is going to show you the plotted positions of the strategy. Now, when I ran the strategy analyzer, the price was at this very point. But since that time of 9:44 up until 9:49, those very specific settings actually had 2 losing positions after that. So that's the cool thing about running your optimization, having wait until flat synchronize account, and not jumping into a position immediately, because it's going to show you the settings, what's happened since you ran the optimization. So that's also why it's probably not a very good idea to be running your optimizations for your trading stop, because the longer your optimization takes to run, the more price has got the risk of traveling on from where it was, and your settings might be out of tune to the market. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just disable this, and instead of optimizing huge values, I'm just going to choose 36 ticks as the trading stop. So I'm going to go with a fixed value instead. So let's do that. So 36 and 64. So you can say to yourself, or you can work out, I'm only prepared to take a 36 stop, and it'll be nice if the price can trail, and I'm happy to accept a 64 tick target. So if you run that, you're going to notice that your optimizations are going to be much lower, but at least you've got a situation where you're not going to have more than a 36 tick stop, and you're going to target 64. So having this specific value here is different to having the value above where it says stop ticks and target ticks, because the stop ticks and the target ticks are fixed values. They cannot be actually adjusted. So I'm going to save this optimization as the 30th like this. Okay, I'm going to quickly load it onto this chart while we are while I go through the rest of the details. So I'm going to go, and you'll learn to do this very quickly. I'm doing it a bit slow. So template load. I find when I talk, it throws me off. So let me just do this. Even though I'm not entirely excited about the last few trades on there, I want to actually discuss or talk to you about the stop ticks and the target ticks. So this last position there, that was the trailing stop that actually ended that position. So like I was saying there, your trailing stop and your stop ticks and target ticks are different values. So if you want to use fixed stops and targets, you select those. If you want to have a trading stop situation, you can actually select that. So before I continue, I'm just going to pause this again. I'm going to run this optimization again and just see why these values are slightly different. It should be exactly the same. So I'm just checking. So I've definitely got my trading stops in play, which is right. I've ticked the box saying true for use trailing stop. So that should definitely be working. So what has exactly happened? The price is saying 9:44. So look at the time on my optimization chart. You see, NinjaTrader, you son of a. This happened the other day too. So this is where you've got to be very mindful of NinjaTrader, little glitches that it has. So my optimization on my chart has ended at 9:44, but my top chart is actually 10:19. So even though I have today's date, which is the 30th, you have to now go and select on the next day. Okay, so when you go and select the next day and you run your optimization, it should go up until current price. So this is why it's also vitally important to have your chart tab open on your strategy analyzer, So you can make sure that your optimization results is giving you the optimization up until current price. So we started this optimization at like 10.19 or 10.18. And if you look at the bottom chart, it is 10.18, 10.19. So what's happened is it's optimized up until current price. Okay, so that is a little issue that they've got, unfortunately. But there's just little things you've got to watch out for and pay attention to. So what I'm going to do now, as you can see, what's happened is the settings have come back a bit different. So I'm going to go template and I'm going to click save. So it's got a larger span of time to work with right now. So what's happened is the strategy analyzer has given us different settings because the market has obviously given lots of signals, and the signals, it's taken the best signals over the last period and it's given that to us. So I'm going to go template, load, and go 30 August like this. It's going to pre-populate all those settings, including our trailing stop and our targets and all of that. And now I'm going to go enable, apply, and OK. So what's going to happen now is it's going to act on the very next signal. Now, looking at this chart, you'll notice that the last signal was back over here at 10 o'clock. So unfortunately, the last few optimizations that we did actually missed the last 15 minutes because the stupid optimization ended at 9:44. I didn't actually notice that earlier. So yeah. And it doesn't always help putting the next day in the optimizer from the beginning, because sometimes that also causes an issue. So I guess the best thing to do is whenever you're running your optimization, always just make sure that your chart on your analyzer is up until current price. Then you know you're optimizing the most recent data on your chart. So also, while this is in a long, it's in a long position now. So the last signal is a long. And of course, we had a trailing stop on this and even a target. That's why it actually showed on the trading chart that the position exited over there where it says Analytical Strategy version 1 by 1 target. That's what that actually means. So that was the target from the last position. So while we are in a long signal, see, that's the brick wall. You can look for opportunities on your other trading chart, now even like a 5-minute chart, to enter long positions or short positions based on what you're seeing. Now, obviously, we've just had a huge run up, so we don't know if there's going to be a reversal. At the moment, this is just creeping up. So most of the strategies now will be in long positions if you haven't got your stops and targets. So I'm sure that would be the case with a lot of you guys. And I mean, these are the days that, that are the best to have, where you have your long running positions like we have. And if you can avoid taking, if you can avoid moving your stops too close to price, it's, these are the types of days where you can make $2,000 to $3,000 in a move like that. And it makes up for, a previous week that you may have gone down. It might even be perfect for the, you might have done enough for the whole week ahead that you don't have to trade for the rest of the week. Or take, smaller chances and stuff for the rest of the week. But generally, these are the days that you're looking for. Okay, my strategy has entered along over there, though, on these settings. So that's the next signal on this. We just got a huge push up. So, but the strategy is just saying long, long, long all the way. But obviously, at any time, we're going to have a pullback in price. But just judging from this, a lot of our other contracts, like even the, if I look at the YM, come on, if I look at the YM as an example, the price actually came down. So there could be a long run up on the YM, which means obviously that the other contracts are going to have reactions too in their price. Obviously, having the YM go up is going to bring the NQ down. So this, it formed a new brick wall over there, which should hold the price. So you can always use those brick walls as sort of a trading stops for your entries. So whenever a brick wall forms, if I expand this chart, whenever a brick wall forms, they tend to be really good support and resistance points for price. And just going back on the chart, I mean, this is only optimized from 9:30 because that's the trading hours that we set. So it's only going to color the bars from that period. But generally, they provide very nice, support and resistance for price. Where are we? And as you can see, that trailing stop is following the price. You see how the trailing stop is automatically trailing the price. Now, again, you can go and deactivate your trading stop whenever you want, and then reactivate it, move it, and do what you want with that. But right now, it's going to trail the price by 36 ticks, but it's only going to move that trading stop on the close of each bar. It's not always it's not going to move it tick by tick. So just bear that in mind. So like right now, you could just move your stop one bar below the thing, but very, 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 very often the price will come back, it will touch that brick wall and will bounce up. That's how incredibly powerful these brick walls are when you are when you've got the settings optimized. So they can be used for scalping opportunities too. So you might even have an automated strategy running on a sim chart, and then you can actually physically go and enter manual positions when the price bounces or comes near a brick wall. You could do manual buys in that situation and even just target 2 or 3 points. This is 8 ticks, so that's 2 points already, So just by having a buy limit, even if you don't want to run the strategies themselves and you want to be 100% in control of price, you could enter a buy limit over there, have an 8-tick stop and an 8-tick target. And I would say at least 70 to 80% of the time, you're actually going to have a huge success in doing that. Only time where the success will be limited is if it happens repeatedly, because then there's a good chance it's going to be breaking down. So, but very, very often that is going to form as a bounce point. And if you've got Fibonacci retracements at those levels, you can almost put the house on those moves. So at this stage, it's probably pointless running optimizations because it's going to be telling you the same thing, that the signals are going up. Currently, that is what it's doing. But there's no harm in running them in the background while you are watching your trading chart. You don't have to, you could just run some optimizations. If you want to use a few different bar sizes, if you want to look at a few different values, you can do that. You can use multiple tabs in here to look at a few different things. But yeah, right now the same settings are still showing there. Now I've only kept 10 results, but if you had to have gone 20 results or 30 results, you would have found that 915 we were using earlier would definitely have been over here. It'll definitely be in this list. It just may have filtered down a little bit because there are higher settings above it. And if we had run this without stops and targets, wow, it'll be so much higher in return. So like, just notice now it's got between $1,000 and $900 as the results. As soon as I go and take away the trailing stop, so if I go and make this just as I take it away. So whenever you're taking away the trailing stops to run optimization, always just make them even values. Because another little glitch with NinjaTrader is that if you do not make these even values, it's still going to optimize those values, even if you have made it false to use the trailing stop. So even if you've selected false, but these values have got a gap between them, it's going to optimize all those values, but it's not going to even give you the results because you selected false. So I don't know why that is, but that is the case. So at least now, you've made sure that it's not going to be optimizing that range between minimum and maximum. Notice how the price is still trailing over there. See it now, it's gone to break even, just above break even. If you notice, see that stop has moved automatically. Now you can still also go and move your stop yourself even closer to the price if you really wanted to. But if you just want to keep your trailing stop, then you can leave it, where that is. You feel free to move it wherever you want. And then if you rather move your target ahead, and then keep your trailing stop just running. Okay, so have a look at this. Okay, so this has what this has done is it's given the best results from the beginning of the session, and it's just been up. So because the market has been straight up, it's basically said from 9:30, the first signal that came at 9:30 was a buy, and it's not changed since. So, that's not, that's without using targets and stops. So I guess we'll just let this run now. I'm not going to adjust anything. We'll see if it has a switch over signal sometime somewhere along the line. So, another thing is if you did not get in earlier on this signal, it acted on the very next signal and it was there. Now notice too that if you had entries per direction, so if you had increased the entries per direction on this strategy, so we've only got one. If you have 3 as an example, 3 entries per direction or 2 entries per direction, what will happen is the first signal will enter there as a long, and it's going to be in that long right now. Then you're going to have a second position enter on the next signal, which is over there, which is another long. So you would currently be in 2 positions. So the strategy can give up to 4 signals in one direction. So that's what the strategy is designed to do. It's designed to act on multiple signals. So as an example, we can't see too many over here, but if you go and run your optimization now, and let's do it. Let's go and choose 3 signals, 3 entries per direction over here. But let's work on the stops and let's run it without that first of all, and then we'll see what that looks like. So our trailing stop is still trailing the price. So we can move this. We can still just move our target. The target, you can just keep moving it up because your trailing stop is doing it. Is doing the work to make sure you're securing whatever that is coming. Let's have a look at there we go. So there is the multiple entries per direction. So obviously, this is the most ideal situation, but according to the settings that are coming up there, the first signal was over there, the second signal was over there, the third signal was over there, because the price kind of bounced around that brick wall. And what happened is those signals from there are carrying all the way to where price is currently right now. So that's the benefit of having multiple entries per direction, is it's going to act on all of those entries in that direction. And if you had to have stops and targets over here, like if you were using specific stops and targets, which we can actually use. So let me select like a stop ticks and a target ticks. Actually, let's use the trail stop. It'll be good to use, because we haven't been, the stop ticks and targets we've used before. But let's use the trailing stop as an example in this regard, and let's make it as a, what did we do? 20. What did we use earlier? 36, I think. So 36. And let's go for a target ticks of 64. Actually, you know what? Let's go. Let's keep it at 64. Okay. And then we make sure we select true over there. So that's good. While that's running, we can look at what's happening. So right now, looks like our stop is going to be taken because we're trailing the price. It's very, very close to it. Again, it's very difficult to know how much the price is going to be running up because we've got no previous history. I mean, this is the highest it's been in recorded history. So there's no way of actually knowing what to be doing from here. Okay, so here is the strategy analyzer again. So this is what I was saying earlier. It's come up with these settings here now based on those very specific trailing stop values. So entering a position, target over there, entering a position over there. Come on. Not sure why that one is showing a target, but that's what's happened over there too. It's entered more positions over there, and it has now exited over there. I'm not quite sure why that one position is showing as a long running position, even though we've got our stops and targets. So we've got 64 ticks. Yeah, so that's just showing you an example of running multiple entries per direction and them hitting their targets. So just some cool things to work on. This is also good for micros if you want to run on micros and do multiple entries per direction. When there is a good strong run up, it's going to follow that and let it run. Okay, so right now we hit our trailing stop. And I guess this is one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of trailing stops, is because that's very, very, very often what happens. You're going to have a situation where the price is going to rise up, and they're always going to want to come and take out stops before they push the price back up again. It's just what they do. And unfortunately, a lot of people are using trailing stops to catch little parts of the market, and they're never going to just push the price straight up. They're always going to bring it back. So if this strategy, for example, never had stops and targets activated, we will still be in long positions all the way from over here, and right now be in a 255 tick trade. as one position. And actually, even before that, even before that, because the previous signals came even further back. But then again, of course, we've got no, judging of what's going to happen on the chart, because, we are at unprecedented highs, and, literally anything can happen. So in that sense, it probably is a good idea just to capture some profits, because you've got no Fibonacci levels to work off. You've got no retracements to work off, to really help you further. You obviously can also use the indicators on the that we have. So you can use, our trend following, which is a beautiful one. That's obviously going to show this long run up. It will definitely show that, because we've had a long run up. But what we've got some other tools on there. The package that you guys are on has got less tools than what we have in general, but you're still going to have some really powerful indicators on there. So this EMA is a very good one too. There's actually an EMA. I've actually got an EMA strategy. So I've actually got this indicator that I've put in this group as a strategy as part of my full DTB trader subscription. So it'll buy and sell basically where these red lines you're seeing, these red and green lines that you are seeing on the chart. So it's going to sell there, buy there, sell there, buy there, and carry on. Again, you can also choose long only and short only, so that it only enters in that direction. But that's obviously going to be ideal for situations where you've got a long trend up, which you won't know in the beginning. You're not going to know in the beginning of the session what the trend is going to be doing for the rest of the session. But, if you are here at, if this was the far end of the chart and you're looking at 930, well, until this price breaks below, until this price breaks, so I've got a bit of a lag here, until it breaks below this trend following indicator, you're not going to be going short anyway. So you can always have your strategy entering long positions until you have a clear break below your trend following indicator. So that's why I put this indicator in there, because that'll also help you stay in a position for longer. So you can also use this trend following system as your trailing stop. So you can keep running the price up and keep moving your trailing stop. Come on, based on bloody hell. Based on what these indicators are telling you to use or to do. So imagine this is your trailing stop. You can just keep moving it up. Now, obviously, it would have worked perfectly in this situation, but you're still going to have other situations during the day. You're always going to have many trends happening. So you're always going to have many trends up and down. So, use the tools that you have over here to, to predict where there's a good chance the price could be reversing, especially when you've got these brick walls in play. So the brick walls are a perfect tool to be used for trailing stops as well. Always put it like a brick below that, 1 or 2 bricks below. Because as we've seen before, price very often just comes and touches that brick wall and might come under it a little bit and then run up. Great. What is the time? It's almost 11:15. Okay. So, there's not too much more I wanted to share for the session, so I can even just leave it there. You guys can continue the rest of the day, do what you want to do. At least now you've got some good experience with the analyzer. Run through the settings in this video, and just match them up. You saw them as we were processing them over there, and just run your optimizations for the rest of the day. this is going to obviously stop at 11 a.m. because I've chosen the specific time slot, but you can have a time slot of between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. So instead of having the time slot 1 as true, you can now go and select time slot 2 as true. And then you can go and optimize all the data from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then find settings that work between that period of time. And then, run those settings like we have in this session on your strategy. Cool. So is there anything you guys wanted me to cover before I jump off, or are you guys happy to carry on and work with this?
I'm good, Jason. Thank you. Thank you for your time. And
Good as well, Jason. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Jason.
Excellent. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being on the call, and we'll do another session tomorrow using a similar approach, and we'll see how we go. Okay?
all right, man. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Okay. Cheers then. And thanks to all the guys watching on YouTube as well. That's pretty